All right, speaking of NXT TV, let's go ahead and jump in and just review our highlights from the most recent episode of NXT. And Richard, kind of a little bit of a shocker to start out the show. Well, the big promotion leading up to this episode of NXT was Commissioner William Regal has a big announcement to make. And we see William Regal, and literally less than 30 seconds later, he's like, hey, let's throw it to Keith Lee.
Yeah.
And he throws it to Keith Lee, and Keith Lee does all the talking, makes the big announcement that he is
relinquishing the North American title.
Yeah, he's giving up the North American title, and he just feels he doesn't want, pretty much in layman's term, he doesn't want to hog both titles. He wants the North American title to be out there and available for their big roster to get
quitter,
to have people to go after it, give people a fresh competition, an opportunity to go after it, and help create some new stars. So, yes, part of me was a little bummed because this always happens when there's a double champion. Most of the time, they just relinquish the lower valued one.
It happened to Ultimate Warrior in 1990.
Yeah, I mean,
it's happened forever. I mean, it's happened since the 70s. So Pedro Morales did it.
So maybe it's going to happen in New Japan. Well,
that's the good thing. Yeah, we see Evil. He's even not. Well, I guess technically, Naito. He had it, but then the pandemic happened, and we never got to really figure it out or find out if he was going to keep both long term. But Evil still has the Intercontinental and IWGP heavyweight titles.
I like it when the champion has to defend them twice in one night. Like that's the best way to get it off. I think
like Seth Rollins.
Exactly. I think typically they do it wrong though, and you should do the World Heavyweight Championship first and get the hard title out of the way and then defend the other belt. So it's a little harder to figure it out after that, but that's who's going to win.
So that way, they're going all out to protect the heavyweight title because that's like the number one prize.
Because you're preserving yourself unless you're facing the same person.
And then later on in the night, you fight someone else, and it's for the second tier title. But technically, you're tired. You had a hell of a match earlier in the night, so it kind of makes sense if they were to lose it. It's like, okay, it's not the end of the world. It's the second tier title. You still keep the heavyweight title.
Exactly.
But I guess maybe.
But you also put the prestige of the secondary title as the now a main event title.
True. And I think I like that thinking, but maybe some bookers were like, well, why would we put our main title early in the show? But I get what you're saying as well. It kind of gives the rub for the second tier title moving forward. But yeah, you're right. Like John Cena, when he took on Seth Rollins was the double champion. And I enjoyed it. I liked him walking around with the U.S. title and the WWE Championship. That was just a cool look for.
Cool.
Didn't he defend it as well as against Sting?
I think so. Yeah,
that was Sting's last match.
Yeah, that's right.
So
and it was a hell of a match until it fell apart.
The buckle bomb in the corner, all that stuff.
And
so
no wonder Vince banned that move.
Yeah, that's rumors.
Don't blame him.
Yeah, I've never been
if you don't use it as a finish and it's just another move, then screw it.
I know. I'm not a big fan of that move. It just looks like it hurts.
I'm just glad it's been abolished.
I've never seen it other than in video games. So
yeah,
seriously, I can't remember a single person ever using that move until
Seth Rollins.
So,
maybe he's a big gamer. He's like, I'm going to bring this move to real life.
Yeah, looks like the type. Yeah.
So as Keith Lee gave up the North American Championship, it was then also announced from William Regal that there's going to be a new tournament, and it's going to be a set of triple threats.
Triple threat.
And the winner of all these triple threat matches, there's going to be 5 finalists, I guess you want to call it that. 5 superstars are going to have going to be part of a ladder match for the North American title at the next takeover. So to me, that's kind of cool because it's like, okay, just my math is correct. 3 people in triple threat match, and they're trying to get 5 total. So that's 15 possible superstars wrestling during this tournament. So I think this is going to be a great way to fill up NXT programming for the next few weeks to build up to a takeover. And I'm stoked. I mean, if you really think about it, NXT's had a lot of tournaments this year. If you think about the Dusty Classic, the Cruiserweight title, this, and then, they had some other, a lot of number 1 contendership matches for the women's division.
It's a recurring theme for NXT is these tournaments.
Yeah, these tournaments to kind of just build up the big matches for TakeOver. So I'm a fan of tournaments. Rich, I know you were telling me yesterday you like tournaments as well, and kind of this is a great way to fill time on NXT TV.
Yes, sir. What do you guys think of the first triple threat?
So yeah, we have Bronson, Roderick Strong, and Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me personally, I was shocked that Bronson won.
It's a nice push for him.
Yeah, because
he's been on that trajectory since that
breakout
went
tournament.
over the well, no, because they kind of used him as a punching bag for a little bit, but
Yeah.
he had that good match with Cross,
Oh, yeah.
where they got some time in there,
Yeah.
and then he beat the guy from Evolve, and you could tell by the way that match went that was a turning point for him.
Yeah.
So
really, like, even though he lost to Cross, that really seemed to start a big push for him. So even in defeat, he looks strong, and it looks like they have to give him the rub moving forward. So I'm excited. And here's the thing: you think about it, when the NXT North American Champion first was created and announced, they had that takeover in New Orleans. They had the 6-person ladder match to 5 to declare the first winner. Adam Cole won that one.
Yeah, Adam Cole, Ricochet, Lars Sullivan.
Oh yeah.
Who
are we missing?
Velveteen Dream.
Velveteen Dream, yep.
And one other guy.
It'll come to us, but we'll think of it.
Is it Killian Dane? No,
not
he was
Killian
back
Dane.
by then.
It was
so. But anyway, but Tommy, you and I, we got to saw that in person in New Orleans. So that was so much fun.
Was a trip.
That takeover. That was so cool. Yeah. But so I imagine that's why they're probably doing this again. Probably, hopefully, maybe recreate that same magic. That was such a EC3.
That was his debut.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
trouble.
But I think that's what they're trying to recreate, the magic from that first ladder match for the North American Championship here at this upcoming takeover. I'm excited for, and Richard, as you just mentioned it, I think it's a great way to start pushing the next batch of talent that NXT has. So it was cool that Roderick Strong, Gargano, very two accomplished guys in NXT are giving the rub, doing a favor for Bronson here. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And up next is something I guess we've all been kind of very happy about is Robert Stone, the Robert Stone brand. He's been getting a lot of TV time. It's funny. He was putting over Chelsea Green so much as his first big client. They separated, or she left him, and she's been gone off TV ever since. Even though he's been like depressed and trying to find a next client to work with.
He just looks disheveled.
But he's still getting a lot of TV time. Yeah. So I think in the end, he's the real winner here.
Yeah, he's the MVP.
And so we saw, what's his current client? Aaliyah. She...
The walking carpet Aaliyah.
Yeah. So it looks like she wears a Gucci knockoff Versace knockoff. Yeah.
So she had a match with Shotzi Blackheart because they have a little thing going. Because remember, Shotzi ran over Robert Stone's ankle with the tank.
Yeah.
And so they had a match here, and let's see. We see Mercedes comes out. Mercedes Martinez come out and kind of help out Robert Stone, and then it looked like Robert Stone was like, "Ooh, I might be having a new client here." And
he was like kid in a candy store.
And then later on, because he got his other ankle ran over by the tank, so he's like icing his wounds in the back. And Mercedes Martinez comes up to him and says, "Listen, I need a manager to do all the the dirty work, the paperwork. I want to be a champion of the NXT Women's Division, and it's like, be my manager. You handle all that. I just focus on fighting." And he's like, "Yes, I'm your guy." And looks like a new partnership's here. So, Richard, just your thoughts on the Robert Stone brand now getting Mercedes Martinez in the fold.
He's got a winner finally.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of hinted at it that Killian Dane might be part of his group now. So we'll see.
Because he got a match with Dexter Loomis.
Yeah,
so,
because he painted a photo of them getting coffee spilled on it. So I think that's good. Tommy, you were telling me as far as you like Robert Stone because of his comedic timing, very similar to Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah.
But you also were telling me off the air is Robert Stone, he should have like his own family, kind of what Bobby the Brain had. Like his own,
that's what I was getting to, and
like a stable clients.
Yeah.
Because Bobby the Brain Heenan, when he was a manager, he represented a ton of people over the years. And
Big John Studd, Paul Orndorff, Rick Rude and so on and so on.
I mean, we've all talked about this. We think like managers is a lost art in pro wrestling, especially, well, mostly in WWE per se. But I think a lot of times we see a manager and they just get glued to one person and that's it for their whole time in WWE. But if you go back to the 80s and 90s or, before that, some managers would bounce around from people and different clients. So if Robert Stone can do that, I think that's great. Like, he can represent different people and we can maybe see him more times in one night coming out to the ring.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at what was WrestleMania 3 and the was it where was that?
Pontiac Silverdome.
Pontiac Silverdome. And you've got you've got Bobby Heenan and you've got Jimmy Hart every match running back and forth.
Yeah.
In different outfits.
Yeah.
So they had to run back, change, and then go right back out.
Yeah.
And Robert Stone does have some pretty nice suits, I might say.
Yeah,
so
he's pretty fly.
He walks around with no socks on. So I guess
he's got that
the
swagger.
ankle sock thing isn't very cool.
Yeah.
He needs more padding on that. Well, now he's got a boot on right now.
Yeah.
Love the boot angle. But yeah, it's cool that he has Mercedes Martinez, and I would love to see that pairing because he's so like comedic, over the top personality, and she's just a total badass. And so I think moving forward, that could be really fun. Just combination of the two, and helping her win these matches and start maybe building her up as a number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship down the road. So I'm all for it. More Robert Stone on my TV. I love it.
You know who Robert Stone should get?
Who's that?
Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke.
Ooh,
yeah.
Because they're not very good, like, talkers.
Yeah.
And he could do all the talking.
Yeah.
And maybe, build them up as, like, big MMA fighters.
Yeah. MMA fighting tag team.
Yeah.
He'd be a perfect mouthpiece for them.
That'd be great. And here's the other thing, too. What's kind of cool? He's a manager for the ladies, for the women out there. I think that's kind of cool. I think
the broads, huh?
Yeah, but you know what I mean. But it's like it's cool. Like usually you could think, oh, he wants to maybe go manage one of the big guys on the roster or something. But his focus is on the women's division. So kind of a nice spin on things. Out of the box that we might not see normally, or it's non traditional. So I think that's just cool as far as. With the times right now evolving, I think that's great. So, like I said,
can't think of another male manager that's wrestled or managed females before. So It's kind of unique there. Like
Jimmy Hart did it.
Who did he manage?
It was Judy. No, not Judy Martin. It was
Leilani Kai.
Maybe it was Leilani Kai. I know that because when the late 80s. They had the women division. It was like Judy Martin, Leilani Kai.
Because I remember Moolah was with Leilani.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think.
Those sweet Moolah shades.
Yeah, and of course, my personal favorite back then in the women's division was the great tag team, the Jumping Bomb Angels.
Yeah, so it's all good stuff. So yeah, we'll see what more Robert Stone has to bring to us. And last but not least, but probably the biggest moment that we all personally geeked out on was I guess you could say
the slaughter of Dominik Dijakovic,
aka the reenactment of Rocky IV. I guess that's what a lot of people are saying about it.
If he dies, he dies.
So
it was also kind of like Bloodsport too.
Yeah, so it was Karrion Kross taking on Dominik Dijakovic in the main event, and I love kind of the build to this as far as last week when Keith Lee came to the ring, had both the titles on him, and the first person he wanted to give a title shot to was Dominik Dijakovic because their rivalry now is legendary. The banger matches they put on over the years outside of NXT,
just action packed.
Yeah, and most recently in NXT. So out of respect, so what they were very much like Rocky and Apollo. They were like enemies. They didn't like each other, but
frenemies.
But over time, they've had these battles, and then ultimately they've won each other's respect. And so very much like Rocky and Apollo, Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee are now like buddies.
Yeah.
So it's very cool, just that relationship. And even when Keith Lee won it in your Great American Bash, Dominik came out and jumped on his shoulders to celebrate. Then they had the match together, and so it's just cool, like this friendship that's been developing over the competition they've had. And then Dominik Dijakovic ran into Karrion Kross in the hallway, and they battled out through the doors and set up their match. And I don't know, Richard, like this match, I think you can say Dominik Dijakovic gave Cross so far his toughest match to date since joining NXT.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he got Killer Cross. So
no, yeah.
So I was gonna say the first half, the match, they're going back and forth. They're trying to feel each other out.
Yeah, and Dijakovic ducked one of his right hands, and he connected on a spinning heel kick.
Yeah,
and
Dominik Dijakovic, he was getting some offense in, but then Cross snapped into it and just started beating the crap out of him. And I just love Scarlett. Outside kept saying like hit him,
just encouraging,
just egging him on.
Yeah, there was a moment after he smashed his brains in where Cross was palming his face and trying to put his other hand to the mat, and it just looked nasty. And then you can hear Scarlett outside the ring going, hit him again, hit him again.
And
it's just like, oh man, this is good shit.
I love that because it really kind of shows that Scarlett is kind of like the secret weapon in all this. Like she can really just motivate Cross.
She can motivate any man.
True, that's true. And come on, most women can motivate men to do anything, but
that woman in particular, though.
Yes, absolutely. So it just really, she's like setting him off to become the just badass monster in the ring and just like on a switch, turn it on, and so. He's like finally crosses on top of him, just beating him down and just not giving up. And then Keith Lee comes running down to the ring and he's like tempted to jump in. And Dominik leans over and is like, no, don't come in. This is on me. I got this.
Oh, don't forget. I mean, before that, he had his head,
Oh, yes, absolutely.
trapped between the steps there on the steel post. And he knocked Dijakovic. He knocked out Dijakovic with the running boot against the steps. And then that's when he dragged him into the ring and then.
See, that's the thing I was going to say about NXT I love is like they do these little things in the ring or outside the ring that I haven't seen in a long time. So it was just really...
It's always the little things that make it good.
Right? But it's just very creative that Dominik Dijakovic falls down in the corner and he kind of falls under the steps. And the way he's kind of hidden under there, it was a perfect timing for Cross to come running up, kick the stairs, and just, punch his whole body in.
It's just perfect storytelling.
But it's little things like that we haven't seen on Raw or SmackDown in a long time. So it feels very innovative in that sense that like NXT does these little things that really adds just flavor to the match. And then because he was like unconscious, Cross picks him up, throws him back in the ring, starts beating him. And
hit him with right hand.
Keith Lee comes running out. And very much like Apollo versus Drago in Rocky IV, when they were fighting and Apollo's like knocked out and Rocky's like not sure if he wants to throw
in the towel.
Keith Lee doesn't know if he should jump in there and save his buddy, but Dominic's like, no, I have this. I'll take care of this.
Or it was like Bloodsport where Chung Lee was hitting Frank Dukes' friend, and then that set up their, fight, in the Kumite.
So, Richard, just for you, like that type of storytelling right there. I mean, emotionally for me, I was so invested in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Cross, he's had this for a long time, so I'm really glad that he's somewhere that, yesterday we talked about people's creative in MLW, and I feel like Killer Cross, Karrion Cross, Kevin Cross. You look at him and you kind of think like he's like an underground fighting version of Triple H. So you can easily see how Triple H would see that guy and want him. And the fact that Triple H probably sees that in him, considering how he's been booked this far. I'm really, really happy where he's at.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he didn't go anywhere else because he's kind of tailor-made for Triple H's grooming, I think. For him, it's just the little things that, whatever that is, even.
Yeah. That was the biggest steal of this year as far as free agent signings, I think, was Cross going to NXT. And, I mean, he pretty much beats the crap out of Dominik Dijakovic, knocks him out. And then Keith Lee comes in. He's trying to come to his friend's aid. And Cross leaves,
kind of mocking him.
And they're eyeing each other. So I guess my question is, do you think we're going to get that match between the two of them sooner than later. I was kind of hoping later, like let it be a slow bill or a slow burn to like maybe Royal Rumble weekend in January, but I don't, because I don't want it too soon. I want them on these separate paths. Keith Lee, dominant champion, Cross, just a dominant monster, taking out people. I think it would make sense maybe take out Adam Cole next, just to kind of really solidify, because he already took out Ciampa. He's taken out.
Well, he's already, that was the number one contenders match, wasn't it?
No, I think that was just a a one-off.
Well, from what it looks like that's definitely the direction we're going in. So
yeah, and I don't want them to necessarily rush into that. Like I said, like I really wanted to, like, we know we're gonna get it eventually, but I want them to hold off and like really like let us be patient and work to that.
Well, I don't think we're getting that.
I know.
Yeah, we're not going to have it marinate anytime soon.
Well, who knows? Maybe
I think you're wasting your breath over that.
Well, do you think Keith Lee's going to have a short title reign?
Yeah, I do.
Wow. Okay.
Because everything from when he's showed up at NXT, there's constantly been reports he's not going to be there very long.
Cross.
I think Cross too, but Keith Lee.
Oh, then he'll go up to the main roster soon.
Yeah, and I think after the Royal Rumble and Survivor Series, he proved himself.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't think. I mean, realistically, he's now a world champion. He doesn't need to be there that long, and he doesn't need. He's had it for a couple weeks now, right? A month.
Yeah. So 2 weeks now officially, or
2.5. Yeah,
it's getting there.
So it's he's had a title defense. There have been people that have been world champion that didn't defend it. Kane after Austin.
Yeah.
But you still look at them and you say that's a world champion. He's a WWE champion. So, I mean, Dusty Rhodes always said that. People said that about Dusty Rhodes, that he would walk into the room and kind of everyone knew that he was the world champion when he wasn't. Because, it's a pride thing. Not everyone gets to be a world champion.
Yeah, Dusty had some short title reigns.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Yeah, we don't necessarily... I think some people don't really focus on the length of title reign. Just the fact that they won it, that's all that matters. Look at Christian.
Most people are going to look at the history book and not compare the dates right off the bat.
Yeah.
So
this would be interesting to see. Is like, when's this match take place? Who wins? Who loses? And if the loser moves on to Raw or SmackDown? Because I always thought Cross would have a short time in NXT. I think money is also for him on Raw or SmackDown. But we shall.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he's also going to stick around for a little bit so they can develop Scarlett in ring.
Okay.
Because I think if they send them up to the main roster, they want them to be a complete package.
Like either one of them could wrestle when needed.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I agree.
Maybe not. I mean, look at Zelina Vega. She's a former Knockouts tag team champion, and she's barely wrestles on the main roster or in WWE.
And they gave up on Lana, it looks like, wrestling as well.
Thank God.
Yeah. So
can't blame them.
So, very exciting episode of NXT, and I think we're all kind of excited because now we're officially on the road to NXT TakeOver 30, which is going to be the day before SummerSlam, and probably most likely at Full Sail University. No crowds in sight for that one. So unfortunately, it's probably going to have a similar setup to in your house. So, but nonetheless, we're going to be super stoked, and we can't wait to keep talking about it for weeks to come.